Good evening, all. Let's begin with today's session. Look at the first question. With reference to the POXO Act of 2012, consider the following statements. The first statement says POXO Act criminalizes all the sexual activity involving persons below 18 years of age, irrespective of consent. Absolutely correct. The second statement says the Act defines a child as a person who has not completed the 18 years of age. Again, correct. The third statement says POXO Act contains a Romeo and Juliet clause to exempt consensual relationships between the minors close in the age. This is not correct. Actually, this is the reason why we picked up this question. Recently, Supreme Court directed the center that you should consider the Romeo and Juliet clause. Means if the two minors, if the two adolescent, they are into consensual physical relation, then it should not be criminalized. Right? Why? Because basically the male child is paying the price of such consensual relationships. Clear? Look at the fourth statement. The Act mandates the trial of offences should be completed within 1 year from the date of taking cognizance. This is absolutely correct. So question is, select the correct answer using the code given below. So three statements are correct here, 1, 2 and 4. The statement number third is incorrect here. So correct answer would be यहाँ पे क्योंकि quantum पूछा हुआ है. So only three statements are correct here. So C for Calcutta would be the correct answer. So look at the reason why we picked up this question. First of all, POXO Act was enacted by the Parliament in 2012. It is a gender neutral law. Now, what Supreme Court said recently? Supreme Court said that consider Romeo Juliet clause in POXO to protect the adolescent relationships, right? And look at these two important sections, section 19 and section 21. So section 19 के अंदर जितने भी इंडिविजुअल्स हैं जैसे हॉस्टल्स हैं, मीडिया, हॉस्पिटल्स, इन सब के ऊपर एक लीगल ऑब्लिगेशन है टू रिपोर्ट लाइक सच रिलेशनशिप्स बिटवीन दी एडोलेसेंट, चाहे वो कॉन्सेंशुअल हो या फिर नॉन कॉन्सेंशुअल हो. और अगर ऐसा वो नहीं करते इन दैट केस उनको जो लीगल कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज हैं वो फेस करना पड़ेगा और यहाँ पे 6 months तक का उनको इम्प्रिजनमेंट भी हो सकता है अलॉन्ग विद अ फाइन. राइट? So this was the reason we picked up this question. Now let's move on to the next question. With reference to Dal Lake, consider the following statements. The first statement says Dal Lake is surrounded by Pir Panjal mountain range. Absolutely correct. The second statement says the main source of water for Dal Lake is the Chenab River. This is not correct. The main source of Dal Lake is Jhelum River and not the Chenab. So which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So only the statement number 1. Right? So A for Ahmedabad would be the correct answer. Now look at the explanation part why we picked up this question. See, present में winter season है और winter season में कश्मीर में एक हम एक टर्म यूज करते हैं चिल्ले कला. तो चिल्ले कला का मतलब है 40 द मोस्ट सीवियर विंटर डेज. तो 40 मोस्ट सीवियर विंटर डेज होते हैं जहां पे कड़ाके की ठंड पड़ती है कश्मीर के अंदर. इनफैक्ट आई हैव आल्सो एक्सपीरियंस द सेम थिंग व्हेन आई वाज पोस्टेड इन कश्मीर वैली. राइट? तो मेरी पहली और आखिरी पोस्टिंग कश्मीर में थी और उन दिनों बेहद ठंड हुआ करती थी. 2011 के आसपास की बात है. सो मैंने पर्सनली एक्सपीरियंस किया है. सो करेक्ट आंसर यहाँ पे क्या होगा? करेक्ट आंसर वुड बी ओनली 1. Right? Now let's move on to the next question. So with reference to the Barak River, consider the following statements. The first statement says it is the second largest river in the northeastern India after Brahmaputra. Absolutely correct. अच्छा, एक बात याद रखिएगा, ब्रह्मपुत्र ये मेरे ख्याल से अकेली ऐसी रिवर है इंडिया में जो कि किसी मेल डेटी के नाम पे रखी गई है, लॉर्ड ब्रह्मा के नाम पे. अदरवाइज आप जितनी भी रिवर्स देखेंगे, मेजॉरिटी में जो रिवर्स हैं वो फीमेल डेटीज के नाम पे हैं, मेल डेटी के नाम पे यहाँ पे नहीं है. राइट? सो ब्रह्मपुत्र अकेली ऐसी रिवर है मेरे ख्याल से. एक बार चेक करिएगा गूगल में, आपको लाइक यू विल फाइंड आउट. So the first statement is absolutely correct here. Look at the second statement. It originates from Manipur Hills, south of Mao in the Senapati district of Manipur. Again correct. The third statement says the 121-kilometer stretch in between these two towns in Assam has been declared as the National Waterways 16. It is again correct. So question is, which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So all these statements are correct here. C for Calcutta would be the correct answer. Right? Now look at this one, why we picked up this question. Look at the explanation part. So recently, the Senapati Forest Division launches community-led PRA drive to rejuvenate Barak watershed. क्लियर? तो यहाँ पे बराक रिवर जो है उसके कॉन्जर्वेशन के लिए, उसके प्रोटेक्शन के लिए यहाँ पे कैंपेनिंग हुई, इस वजह से न्यूज में था. सो आई होप यू गाइस अंडरस्टूड. दीज आर द ट्रिब्यूटरीज ऑफ बराक रिवर एंड बराक इज अ मेजर ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ ब्रह्मपुत्र रिवर. राइट? So do remember all these things. Now let's move on to the next question. With reference to APEDA, Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, consider the following statements. The first statement says, APEDA is a statutory body established under the Agriculture and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority Act passed by the Parliament in 1985. Absolutely correct. It is a statutory body. There is no doubt. Second statement says, APEDA works under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. This is absolutely incorrect. Clear? So question is, which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be A for Ahmedabad, right? Now let's move on to the explanation part. So you can see here, recently APEDA launched initiative to boost agri-food, agri-tech startups exports, right? So statement number 2 is incorrect here. Why? Because APEDA works under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and not under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, right? There is one more reason why APEDA was in news. See, FASAI and APEDA, they developed Unified India Organic logo. It will replace the NPOP's India Organic and FASAI's जैविक भारत लोगोस. सो जैविक भारत लोगोस को किसने यहाँ पे रिप्लेस कर दिया है? दैट वुड बी यूनिफाइड इंडिया ऑर्गेनिक लोगो. सो क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, यूनिफाइड इंडिया ऑर्गेनिक लोगो was designed by which of the following authorities? So correct answer क्या होगा? APEDA and FASAI, right? Now let's move on to the next question. So look at the question number 5. With reference to the Gadgil Committee and Kasturi Rangan Committee on the Western Ghats, consider the following statements. The first statement says, the Gadgil Committee proposed that the entire Western Ghats region should be declared as ecologically sensitive area and be divided into 3 sensitivity zones. Absolutely correct. See, ecological sensitive area is declared under the Environment Protection Act of 1986, right? सो गार्गिल कमेटी की जो रिपोर्ट थी उसके अकॉर्डिंगली पूरे वेस्टर्न घाट्स को ही इकोलॉजिकल सेंसिटिव एरिया डिक्लेयर किया जाना था. सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट सेज द के कस्तूरी रंगन कमेटी recommended declaring a larger area of the western ghats as ecological sensitive area than was proposed by the Gargil committee. This is absolutely incorrect. Why? क्योंकि यहाँ पे के कस्तूरी रंगन कमेटी ने जो recommendation दी, इसके अकॉर्डिंगली जो इकोलॉजिकल सेंसिटिव एरिया है वो प्रीवियस कमेटी की रिकमेंडेशन के कंपैरिजन में काफी कम है. So second statement is incorrect here. Look at the third statement. The Kasturi Rangan committee adopted a more targeted approach by identifying specific villages as ecologically sensitive instead of covering the entire Western Ghats. This one is absolutely correct, right? So which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? Only 1 and 3. Clear? So यहाँ पे quantum पूछा हुआ है. So correct answer would be only 2. So B for Bombay would be the correct answer here. Now let's move on to the explanation part why we picked up this question. So it was in news because the demise of Mr. Gadgil, right? So Professor Madhav Gadgil, he died recently and इसी वजह से हमने इस क्वेश्चन को यहाँ पे पिक किया है. Do remember, eco-sensitive zones जो हैं, they are created under Section 3 of the Environmental Protection Act of 1986 and that is declared by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Clear? और ये basically क्यों होता है? To create buffer zones around the protected areas like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries for what purpose? For conservation and regulating activities like mining, industries and tourism to protect the biodiversity. Right? Now let's move on to the next question. So look at the question number 6. With reference to the Directorate General of Mine Safety, consider the following statements. The first statement says that DGMS, it is a regulatory agency. That DGMS is a regulatory agency under the Ministry of Labor and Employment for the matters relating to occupational safety, health and welfare of the persons employed in mines. Absolutely correct. Second statement says the headquarters of the DGMS is located in Dhanbad in Jharkhand. It is equally correct. The third statement says the responsibility for the safety, welfare and health of the workers employed in mines falls under the state list of the Constitution of India. No, that's not correct. See, दोनों statements बिल्कुल opposite हैं. अगर one correct होगा तो third नहीं हो सकता, third correct होगा तो one नहीं हो सकता, right? Actually, that is the duty of the center, not the state, right? तो यहाँ पे जो third में लिखा हुआ है, it comes under the state list. That is not correct. It comes under the union list. So question is, which of these statements given above are is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be only 1 and 2. So only two statements are correct here. B for Bombay would be the correct answer here. Clear? So look at the explanation part. Entry 55 of the union list, the safety, welfare and health of the workers employed in mines are a central government subject, not a state list subject. Clear? And recently, the DGMS marks 125 years of commitment to the mine safety and workers वेलफेयर क्लियर अब यहां देखिए ध्यान से इंडियन माइंस एक्ट कब आया था इन 1901 सो द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सेट अप अ ब्यूरो ऑफ माइंस इंस्पेक्शन ऑन 7th of January 1902 with headquarters at Calcutta. The name of the organization was changed to the Department of Mines in 1904 and its headquarters was shifted to Dhanbad in 1908. Clear? So do remember all these important facts and figures. Now let's move on to the next question. With reference to the Grace Lander Loris, consider the following statements. The first statement says, Grace Lander Loris is a prosimian belonging to the primate family Loridae. Absolutely correct. Second statement says its natural distribution includes the southern India and Sri Lanka. Again correct. They are found in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka and in Sri Lanka as well. So both these statements are correct here. Look at the third statement. It is found only in tropical evergreen rainforest and not in the dry or scrub forest. No, that's not correct. They're found in the dry and scrub forest. They're also found in mountain forest and the dry deciduous forest. राइट सो थर्ड स्टेटमेंट इज इनकरेक्ट हियर. अब यहाँ पे देखिए जो टर्म यूज हुआ था ओनली यहाँ से आपको अटेंटिव हो जाना था राइट. जरूरी नहीं है कि जब यहाँ पे ओनली टर्म का यूज हो ओनली कीवर्ड का तो गलत ही हो. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी बट यू हैव टू बी अटेंटिव. सो क्वेश्चन इज विच ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट्स गिवन अबव इज ऑब्लिक आर करेक्ट. सो करेक्ट आंसर वुड बी ओनली 1 and 2. So B for Bombay would be the correct answer here, right? Now look at the explanation part why we picked up this question. So recently an article was published in Down to Earth. So Night Watcher reverse mythical beliefs to save the nocturnal hunter of the Western Ghats. Kerala and Tamil Nadu have begun efforts to restore habitats and strengthen monitoring of the grey slender loris. Right? So statement number third is incorrect here because the grey slender loris also inhabits the dry semi-deciduous forest, scrub bamboo, swamp and mountain forest, not only in the evergreen rainforest. क्लियर. अगर मैं इनके कॉन्जर्वेशन स्टेटस की बात करूं तो कॉन्जर्वेशन स्टेटस क्या है दैट इज नियर थ्रेटेंड. Clear? And it is mainly found in southern India, particularly in Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, and in Sri Lanka as well. So look at the next question. Question number 8. With reference to Parliament of India, consider the following statements. Statement number 1. A private member's bill is a bill presented by a member of Parliament who is not elected but nominated by the President of India. This statement is absolutely incorrect. See, a private member bill is a bill which is presented by a non-minister. अब ये नॉन मिनिस्टर जो है ये रूलिंग पार्टी से भी हो सकता है और ये ऑपोजिशन पार्टी से भी हो सकता है राइट. बस ये नॉन मिनिस्टर होगा. अब जो भी बिल्स मिनिस्टर्स इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं उसको हम गवर्नमेंट बिल कहते हैं. व्हाई? बिकॉज दैट रिफ्लेक्ट्स द गवर्नमेंट्स कमिटमेंट दैट एक्चुअली दैट इज बैक्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट राइट. तो जो भी बिल्स होते हैं जो कि लाइक नॉन मिनिस्टर्स इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं ये बेसिकली इसलिए होते हैं ताकि वो गवर्नमेंट का अटेंशन उस तरफ उस सब्जेक्ट की सीरियसनेस की तरफ अट्रैक्ट कर पाए. सो दी स्टेटमेंट नंबर 1 इज एब्सोल्युटली इनकरेक्ट हियर. Second statement says recently a private member's bill has been passed in the Parliament of India for the first time in its history. No, that's not the case. The last private member bill was passed in 1970 when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister of India. So the second statement is equally incorrect here. Question is which of these statements given above is oblique are correct? So correct answer would be D, neither 1 nor 2, right? And why we picked up this question, there's a strong reason. First of all, it's a previous year question. This question was asked by the UPSC in 2017 prelims. So look at this one. Recently an article was published on this matter. So you can see here that a member of parliament who is not a minister is a private member and the bill introduced by private members are referred to as a private member bill. Always remember, private member bills can only be introduced on Friday. So Friday is reserved for the introduction of the private members bills, right? Do remember. Now let's move on to the next question. So look at the question number 9. The term digital single market strategy seen in the news refers to what? First of all, the term digital single market strategy, this strategy was introduced by the European Union, right? Why? In order to create a single digital market, right? So look at the explanation part. The digital single market strategy was launched by the European Union in 2015, aimed to create a single digital space in Europe, removing barriers for the online businesses and consumers across the member states. So correct answer would be that would be European Union, right? Now let's move on to the next question. So look at the question number 10. It's going to be the last question of today's session. Which of the following countries share a land border with Iran? Iraq, yes. Turkey, yes. Saudi Arabia, no. Afghanistan, yes. Pakistan, yes. So correct answer would be B for Bombay. See, there is a very strong reason why we picked up this question. ईरान इज विटनेसिंग ह्यूज प्रोटेस्ट, मास प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं ईरान में, वहां की थियोक्रेसी और वहां के सुप्रीम रिलीजियस लीडर अयातुल्ला अली खमैनी के अगेंस्ट में. सो ईरान थ्रेटन्स प्रोटेस्टर्स विद डेथ पेनल्टी, चार्जेस एज 72 किल्ड, over 2,300 detained in the government crackdown, right? तो यहाँ पे अयातुल्ला अली खमैनी जो है वो कह रहे हैं कि ये बेसिकली वेस्टर्न फ्यूल्ड प्रोटेस्ट हैं और यहाँ पे अमेरिका ईरान को डिस्टेबलाइज करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, right? So you need to understand this, that Iran forms its land border with 7 countries, including Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, and Turkey, right? So look at the map first. Look at the map of Iran first. So Iran forms its border with Iraq, with Turkey, with Turkmenistan, with Afghanistan, and with Pakistan. So there's no immediate border with Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia के साथ कोई border नहीं है. Clear? And do remember that Iran is a थियोक्रेसी. तो थियोक्रेसी में 3 इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट होते हैं यहाँ पे. द फर्स्ट वन इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डिवाइन रूल. तो यहाँ पे जैसे अयातुल्ला अली खमैनी है, ही इज द सुप्रीम रिलीजियस लीडर ऑफ ईरान. तो वो किसके बिहाफ में गवर्न कर रहे हैं? ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ अल्लाह, ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ गॉड. क्लियर? सो गॉड इज द अल्टीमेट सॉवरेन विद अथॉरिटी चैनल थ्रू अ रिलीजियस फिगर. तो यहाँ पे रिलीजियस फिगर कौन है? रिलीजियस फिगर है यहाँ पे सुप्रीम रिलीजियस लीडर अयातुल्ला अली खमैनी. देन प्रेजेंस ऑफ अ रिलीजियस लॉ और रिलीजियस डॉक्ट्राइन. क्लियर? तो यहाँ पे रिलीजियस डॉक्ट्राइन क्या है? दैट इज शरिया. और ईरान क्या है? ईरान इज बेसिकली अ इस्लामिक स्टेट. देन द फ्यूजन ऑफ पावर. तो फ्यूजन ऑफ पावर मींस देयर इज अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग नेक्सस बिटवीन रिलीजन and politics in Iran. So do remember, theocracy में 3 important elements हैं. First of all, the presence of a supreme religious leader. Second one is the religious doctrine, and the third one is the presence of or the fusion of power, means the blend of religion and politics. Clear? तो examples क्या क्या है? Vatican City, ईरान, देन सऊदी अरेबिया, अफगानिस्तान. ये सब किसके एग्जाम्पल हैं? ये सारे के सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं थियोक्रेसी की. तो थियोक्रेसी इज अ गवर्नमेंट वेयर गॉड और डेटी इज द सुप्रीम रूलर विद रिलीजियस लीडर्स, मींस क्लर्जी. तो अयातुल्ला अली खमैनी किसकी तरह एक्ट कर रहे हैं? एक क्लर्जी की तरह यहाँ पे एक्ट कर रहे हैं. सो आई होप यू गाइज अंडरस्टूड. दिस टाइम एग्जामिनर मे आस्क यू अबाउट द ज्योग्राफिकल फीचर्स ऑफ ईरान. Clear? So do remember that Iran forms its land border with 7 countries, with Iraq, Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Clear? Iran also forms a huge coastal area with Persian Gulf, with Gulf of Oman, and Caspian Sea. So guys, this was the last question of today's session. Hope you guys are enjoying these sessions, and I'm pretty sure that these sessions would be immensely helpful for all the civil services aspirants, those who are watching these sessions regularly. So मिलते हैं next session में दोस्तों. Bye bye, take care, जय हिंद.